Sorry for the tardiness tonight, everybody. It was a little bit of a crazy night, a little bit of running around and last minute meal preparations, but I'm here. I'm happy to be here, everybody. Let's chop it up tonight, okay? Hope you guys have been feeling great, feeling nice, feeling wonderful, taking care of yourselves, enjoying life, enjoying the week as, a lot of opportunities presented themselves and a new week is on the horizon. All right. And here in Canada, it's actually March break this coming week. So that's, fun. So everybody, what's been going on, everybody? What's been going on? Hey, Lone Wolf, hope you're doing well. Guys, so sorry for the tardiness. I'm normally not tardy. I'm pretty big stickler when it comes to being on time and things like that, but things happen, especially when you have kids. So it could be like that sometimes, but I'm here. Thank you guys for being here. Let's talk about some things. Let's talk about what you guys want to talk about today. Let's talk about what you guys want to, listen. When you are a chosen one, when you have been set apart, it's a vibe. It's always going to be a vibe. Now, this stream does not have a particular premise or topic. So, go for it, everybody. Let me know what's going on with you guys. How are you guys feeling? What you guys want to talk about? All right. And let's, of course, keep it within the realm of appropriateness, right? Thank you, everybody. Queen Shola, hope you're doing great. Thank you so much for being here. David, J Dub, hope you're doing great. Nadia, how are you doing? Anchored, Baron, how are you guys doing? How are you guys feeling today? Hope you guys are feeling awesome. All right, let's talk about what you guys want to talk about. If you guys have questions you want to get into, if you guys have a commentary that you want to share, please do share, because this is just about a vibe. We're trying to vibe tonight. We're trying to enjoy our time here, trying to uplift, trying to bring a lot of things to light. So thank you, everybody, for being here. All right. And I appreciate you guys' time for tuning in tonight. And once again, sorry for the tardiness. I'm normally not I'm not a late type of person, but it happens sometimes. So J Dub says he's about to step out. Thank you, Nadia, for your good vibes. She said this channel is total therapy. Thank you guys so much for the awesome vibes. Thank you. Thank you. Bike Warrior says, hey, Andrea, just done posting my bike videos on my YouTube channel. That's awesome. I'm going to check it out. I love supporting, everybody. Like whenever I could support people and show up for people and really see what everybody's up to, like that really brings a lot of joy to me, because I know that it's very uplifting. It's a very uplifting thing to see that people, no matter what we might be going through and different things going on in life, that there is beauty, there is growth. A lot of people are working hard and doing what they can and living life to the fullest for sure. Thank you, everybody. I'm happy that you guys are here. Yakala, thank you so much for the great vibes. Happy Friday, India. All right. When you're set apart from the rest and when you are called to have a very specific purpose on the planet, you're going to be, it's going to be a lot of emotions involved, a lot of craziness that can happen in your life, a lot of tricky situations, muddy roads, a lot of craziness that can happen in our lives because we've literally just been set apart from the rest. Or, there's a lot of things that we could have went through growing up that really tested our patience. And before our brains were even properly developed, we were being thrusted into situations that we could not fully grasp or comprehend, but we had no choice but to deal with whatever it was. That's why we're solid. That's why we're here still, thriving, doing the best that we can, and actually setting an example for people who may not, know a lot, or people who may not understand life. You could be that type of person that really understands life, that has life kind of down pat, where people know when they see you and when they come to you for advice, or they try to chill with you, hang with you, vibe with you, you just seem to have the answer, or you just seem to know a lot of things, and you're able to pinpoint certain details or lead people in the right direction, because a part of your calling is to be the clarity, or is to be the light that people actually need, right? So it's interesting. You could be that whole vibe. You could be, the chosen one in your family, the chosen one in your community, somebody who's just been set apart from young. Like we're talking about from your youthful days, set apart, even when you didn't understand what it meant to be different, or why you were being treated in certain ways. And now it all makes sense. Now all the puzzle pieces are here, they add up, they line up to why things are the way they are, and why the life you live is what it is. It could be interesting. It could be interesting. Yeah, Nadia says, right, we always support others, but it's not reciprocal, right? It is not reciprocated. Oftentimes, it's kind of like, hey, people will freeload off of you. People will freeload, people will use you because they know that you have the resources, but then they'll also spit on you. Like they'll disrespect you in the process and also act like you don't know anything or that you are not skilled, which is kind of ironic because if they feel as though you're not skilled and you're not worthy, why do they mimic you or copy you or steal your ideas or, move in this type of way if they feel like you're nothing, right? So it's interesting how it's a lot of programming. And if you're not careful, you could fall victim to imposter syndrome and similar aspects like that, where you start believing what people tell you that is negative about yourself. And you have to know who you are. You have been called to do different things, called to move in different ways. And with that calling and with the moves you got to make, it's going to cause a stir. A lot of things are going to change in your life. You're going to start seeing things with so much clarity. Everything, it's like a eureka moment. Your whole life could be kind of like bedazzled with eureka moments where it's like, wow, or yes, or I got it, or I understand now. So many things make sense, right? As you go through the mud, as you come out on top, out of every situation, you still come out successful. You come out with more clarity, lessons to be learned, new actions to do, new moves to make. It's very nice. Life is beautiful. And Baron says, truth and love wins in the end. Don't worry, be happy. hmm Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so very much. Yep. Yakala says, yes, I'm not helping anyone, especially wicked people, period. That's the thing. Sometimes you don't know who to help, but you can't make anybody turn your heart black or turn your heart cold. That's something that I have to keep reminding myself as I keep getting attacked or targeted through living life. I have to remind myself, like, some people are just not right. And with people not being right or people being having issues that they have not mitigated, I'm going to be a target for some folks. So it's like, you want to turn cold sometimes and cut everybody off and say, forget everybody, forget everything, but you cannot, because that is the devil's way, or that is a dark mindset to have. And it's interesting because it's not really our fault. Like a lot of times, dark thoughts, right, can grow in your brain. The mind can be very tricky because as much as the mind can elevate you, if you're not careful, the mind, or how your mind is wired, can actually bring you down. It's just a matter of perspective and really mitigating stress, anxiety, and reminding yourself that, listen, there's wicked people in this world. As Yakala has mentioned here, there are wicked people in this world. There are crazy people in this world. There are people who do not deal with life very well. There are people who actually hate life. They don't like themselves, and they will pull out all stops to destroy the next man, the next woman. So we cannot let those types of characters turn our hearts dark or make us as, make us as miserable as they are, right? So Yakala, thank you for you're adding your your insight here. It's very true. It's like you don't want to help wicked people, but you never really know who's really fully wicked. You cannot always be so sure, because it could be people that you've been writing for a long time, and it's just recently that you've been seeing a shift and makes you question, is this person really good? Like, I used to kick it with this dude. He used to always be cool. How come all of a sudden he's acting like he doesn't know me? Or why is he, when I tell him, my new business venture, he's acting like he doesn't hear me? Like, why are these people moving a certain way, right? Or why is my family shunning me? Why did they make me feel uncomfortable? Why is my boss targeting me, or my coworkers? It's a lot of things, right? So don't let anybody turn your heart dark, right? You have to see the beauty in life and move in that direction. Move to where the beauty is, the love is, the peace, the harmony, and, kind of like make it a part of your existence, right? Make it a part of your kind of mantra or the principles that you live by. Because yes, you're going to get attacked. You're going to get attacked by people for seemingly no reason. But there is a huge underlying reason: jealousy. Jealousy. Let it be known, everybody. Share your stories here, please, about any jealous situations that you've been in, or trying issues with people who have switched on you, and you can't really understand where this is coming from because you thought everything was good, everything was cool. Definitely. Definitely. Yep. Caroline, nice to see you. Everybody, it's life is beautiful, life is sweet, right? And I treasure life, I love life, and it's because I want to see a lot of beautiful things happen. And the only way to ensure that is going to take place is if I keep my mind right. That's with everything. Money's not going to make your mind right. Materialism, that's not, it could help, right? But certainly it's not going to change your mindset necessarily for the better, right? It's like you have to make sure that no matter what your predicament is, that you're staying elevated up here. This is the most important thing. This is the driving force, your mind. And this is why you confuse and trick a lot of people, not tricking on purpose, but causing a distortion in other people's reality. They're not really understanding how come when they look at you, when they look at themselves, they're seeing that you're always on the up and up. You're never lacking, you're never slacking, you're never losing, you're always up. You're always finding a way to remain in the upright. It's because of your mindset. It's because of the mindset, the proper, clean, clear mind that you have decided to have and to live by. Very pure principles, very real principles, understanding that nobody can take you off course if you keep your mind right. So that's one thing I've learned throughout my journey, is that it's a lot of things that can go wrong in your world, but the worst thing that can go wrong is when your mind, starts to turn negative. That's one of the worst things that can happen to somebody, because if your mind is not correct, if your mind is clouded, if your mind, if it's too much stress, you're not dealing with it, too much pressure, too much drama, it doesn't matter like where you come from, the career you hold, the seniority you have in a certain company, your age, your creed, your race. It will get to you. Stress will get to you, drama will get to you if you're not able to mitigate it, right? It's a lot of people in this world do not keep their minds right, and you could tell by how they move, how they attack people, how they treat people, how they scam people, how they lie, how they cheat, how they move. It's a lot of things that people do to show you that their mindset is off, or there's something about how they move is off, and they're worried about the wrong things, or they're not focused on what is deeper or what is realer. And when you are right, you're going to be a target, an automatic target. It seems like you're not even doing anything. You're not trying to get at nobody, but it's like everybody's trying to get at you because you keep your mind right. It's that thing that they can't really touch. And that really gets people reeling, because they see that, wow, normally you could just take something from someone or steal or sabotage in some kind of way. But with your mind, there's not really much recourse here that they have. They have to accept the fact that you're going up regardless, because you decided to keep your mind configured that way. And so that is why you can move up. That's why you continue to be on the up and up. And that's why you continue to be a success story. Despite all the trials and tribulations that you could have gone through, you could still be going through them. The attacks could still be happening. But still, it seems like these situations do not break you. And that's why, you can invoke a lot of intimidation in people, because it's what would break them, or it would destroy them. They're seeing you like, wow, you were able to come through, and you were able to come on top after all of that. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. Everybody, there is no specific premise for this stream tonight. I'm just talking off the top of my head. Definitely inviting you guys here to share your thoughts, share your ideas, share your insights, share your stories, share your troubles if you wish to share. And so we could have a conversation. This is all about chopping it up, talking about whatever you guys really want to talk about, so long as it's, appropriate. And thank you guys for your time, of course. I thank you guys for your good vibes and your company. Yeah, Devin kept going, says they're mad that they can't make you react in anger. Yep. You know, Devin, it's true. It's true. It's like, what are they? Why do people have this desire to get you out of character, to see you lash out and be mad, to see you get angry? It's because that's how they feel inside. So they need people to join the negativity. You know, anger is not an energy that you want to dwell in. So you can only understand, you only imagine that people who dwell in anger and they're just enveloped in chaos, they start feeling uncomfortable being in it by themselves. They need recruits. That's why people will attack you, they'll target you, they'll lie on you, steal from you. They'll do anything to try to get you out of character so that now there's this fight and now they have their entertainment, and their entertainment is you, this back and forth banter that now you're having with them. It's like entertainment. It's something that they look forward to. Some people are strange like that, you know, where and that's the thing, they start getting bent when you don't fight or when you don't defend yourself or when you're no longer speaking on certain things. You start seeing people actually get upset that perhaps when they talk to you now, they're met with silence, they're met with stoicness, they're not getting the reaction that they want. And so it's kind of like, where's my entertainment? Now I'm still stuck in this energy by myself. They see that you're a high vibrating individual. They cannot take you out of that high vibrating zone. You don't want to be in these low zones where nothing's blossoming, nothing's getting better. And unfortunately, that's where a lot of people dwell, right? That's where a lot of people kind of, decide that this is the best that they can do. And with you, you have more ambition. And some people can be jealous of your ambition and jealous at how focused you are and how steadfast you are and not being taken off your course, right? So it definitely could be like that. So thank you, Devin, for that commentary there. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate that. Yep. And I see Josh has joined here. Josh, I saw on the post you were on the way. Nice to see you. Definitely. Definitely. I hope you guys, thank you, Callie, for the nice comment there. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Nadia says chosen ones get challenged constantly, consistently. My apologies, consistently. Why? I mean, if people want to believe, right, that you are timid or weak or what, why do they always try to like compete, right? Like, what is with this manufactured competition? If they believe that you're nothing, right? Why do they try so hard to show that there's something? Like, why? What is that? Right? It feels wishy-washy. It feels strange where people are not being really forthcoming with how they really feel about you, how they really, what they really think about you. It could be people who think, oh, you're not smart, you're the opposite. But then they start studying what you study, or they decide to go back to school because you're doing that, start reading encyclopedias because you're doing that. But they swear that you don't know anything and that you're not smart. But then they're trying to like beat you and have a larger roster than you do and start trying to compare themselves to you. It's interesting because it's not matching how they move or what they say to you, right? So yes, Nadia, it's true that you will constantly be challenged as somebody who's been summoned to do different things on this planet. You're going to be challenged because people feel that you have this confidence that's not making sense, right? Or you have this vibe to you where you're very sure that you're going to get it done, but people are not really seeing like, why are you sure? Or why are you so confident? Or people might even call you cocky and say that you're full of yourself. You think that you're all that. You probably let it be known in the comments, everybody. If people have said that you think you're all that, or people think that you're showing off and showing out, it's because you're really bright. You're a vibe. You're very bright. You're a very light person, very bright spirited, and people feel your energy. And there's no denying the vibe that you have. So people are intimidated by you in multiple ways, right? People are intimidated by your work ethic, by your confidence, by your steadfast nature. People are uncomfortable, upset that you could be very intelligent. I know intelligence is one of those things where it definitely will get people riled up. Like when they see that you're extremely smart, once again, it's something that they can't really tamper with, right? It really aligns with your mind, your brain, and how you operate and what you do to elevate yourself and to get smarter, to get more knowledge. it could definitely send people reeling because they know that they can't really they can't test you, you know, they can't really get up here and mess with you or try to confuse you because you know too much, right? So it could be like that for sure. Yakala says, my secret weapon as a chosen that protects me from low rank demon narcissists is social anxiety. They can't get in my energy. Wow, I feel you on that one right there. Jackie, nice to see you. You said, it's crazy because people were making mistakes at work this week. And when I called it out, I was called the problem. Yeah, it's backwards. I think I made a post this week about things being backwards and things being like it doesn't make sense. Like when you're alerting people to something that is wrong that needs a remedy, it's like they look at you like you're the one that's causing, the issue, or you're the one that's making it up or exaggerating it or making it out more than what it really is. And you're just doing what you think is right. But people are going to look at you like you're a problem because when they see that it comes with what you know, and it comes with the fact that you're making it aware, like you're bringing awareness to an issue that everybody's trying to dumb down or everybody's trying to keep hidden or keep in the closet. Like they don't want certain things to come out where they have to address it and exert themselves to fix it. And so it's like you're holding people accountable for things that they were trying to hide or sweep under the rug. When you start speaking up about things that are factual and that are problematic, and they know that you probably have a solution, they're going to shun you and look at you like you're just the one that is trying to be annoying or trying to be difficult. And that you should know your place and you shouldn't be stepping out of that place because there's somebody higher than you or has seniority over you that'll take care of it. It's wild. Like there was one time I was working at the Hudson Bay, right? And this is back in like 2016, and they had a problem there at that location with the women's clothing area. The women's department was unmanned. They didn't have anybody working there, and it was problematic because I was working in a department far away, and we're having like patrons coming and looking for people to service the women's department. And I think it was also paired with the children's department, children's clothes, things like that. So I brought it up to my boss that we have a problem here with this lady's department. There are no workers here. Perhaps you should, put some more workers there. And he was offended by that. He didn't like that I was bringing that up to him. He's like, well, there's nothing we could really do about that right now. People are just going to have to deal with it. And, the store is really big, so somebody will help them. He seemed offended that I was bringing up a problem in the store. So you could assess a situation and bring it up to somebody to you're thinking that the boss is going to remedy it because that's the boss, that's the individual who has the resources to deal with the circumstance. You're telling the boss how to do his job in a way, and they get offended because they know the problem exists. Many patrons would come up to me and say, hey, like, where is everybody? That's not right. And they would say, that's really nice of you that you're leaving your designated location to come help us here. And then you want to help them. They got to go in the fitting rooms, got to give them the keys, and you got to stay there, make sure everything's good. And now there's nobody there in your original department, and it's problematic. And then when there's no one in the original department where you're supposed to be stationed at, then they get mad at you because it's like now there's no one there where they put you, right? But what are you supposed to do? Ignore the patrons? No, of course not, right? So it's like that where, sometimes you could probably assess situations and see that things need to change. And when you bring it could be beyond the workplace. It could be in the family. It could be about finances. It could be about relationships and how things need to change, things need to be better. It could be about your education. It could be about anything that's happening in your society or in your community that needs fixing up, and the officials or whoever's in charge is not dealing with it. So you're trying to do the best you can as a civilian to try to get the higher ups in charge, make them do their job. They get offended to try to shut you down or take you off the road or whatever it is that you're trying to do. It's backwards, isn't it? It's backwards for sure. Everybody, one thing I've noticed is that when I try to be of service to people, sometimes it backfires on me, you know? Like when I try to be nice to people or when I try to be courteous to people, it actually gets people angry or it gets people annoyed. Like you would think it would be the opposite, that people would be really gracious, happy, thankful. Oh, wow, that's so kind of you. But it actually is the opposite effect sometimes, where you could be really kind. Like you're thinking you're doing a good deed. And we know you're the type of person that probably will go out of their way to do a good deed. When you do that good deed, you're met with backlash or you're met with people who are standoffish and annoyed that you're even helping them, right? And it's kind of like, what did I do? People could be very ungrateful to you. People might take advantage of you, use you, right? It's a lot of things that can happen. People know that you have the resources and you have the heart, and people hate that you have the heart. You know, like people will hate that you have a good heart, you have a good spirit, that you'd actually go out of your way to help somebody, even somebody that you don't even know, right? And it's, once again, it's super backwards. It's not making sense. But a lot of things in this world don't make sense. You know, a lot of things in this world are hard to decipher, hard to wrap our heads around. A lot of people are conditioned. A lot of people are sheltered, right? And are wayward and are closed off mentally, in a sense that they've been told that you got to be one way. You can't be the way you want to be. You got to be one way only, because that's the only way you're going to make it. And so they start putting these thoughts in people's head where if you step out of this box, right, then you're going to have repercussions, or there's going to be problems for you, or you're going to struggle. But these are all lies. These are all deep-seated conditioning tactics that a lot of us, I'm sure, have gone through. And it's very dangerous because it closes you off to different people, to different places, to different opportunities, because you've been told or conditioned to believe a certain set of values or morals or principles that may or may not be correct. They could be correct to a certain degree, or they could be exaggerated, or they could be fully false, right? But when you start answering the call to what your life is supposed to be, you will start seeing that there is another way to be. That the way that you've been raised or the way that you've been brought up to believe certain ideologies, they're not fitting with your itinerary these days. They're not fitting in with your life these days. It's not fitting in. It's not working out for you. They could actually even be limiting, where everything that you've been told or everything you've been taught is not helping you advance, that you actually have to branch out and get away from certain ideologies or certain beliefs or certain regimens. Because when you do, then that's when you take off. That's when you grow. That's when your world opens up and all the opportunities that you've probably been longing for will present themselves now, right? It's interesting. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, Baron says, be yourself, of course. I am my own person says, people sure expect everybody to live by what society says they should be. Absolutely. Yep. Nadia says, right. Sometimes it's better not to be nice to certain people. Watch patterns. Oh, for sure. Yep. M4 says, yes, ma'am. Agents. Yep. Mrs. Tisha Faith says, yes, they return your good deed with hate, right? With malice, with anger, with contempt. Like, this does not make sense. When you're doing good for other people, you would expect that people at the minimum would be thankful for the gesture. But unfortunately, it's oftentimes the opposite reaction that you get, that people are mad that you're helping them. Like, I've helped people and they would take the help and then be mad that I helped them. And even worse still, they would act like I didn't actually help them at all. Like they did that themselves. Oh, I did that. I did that. But in all actuality, you did that for them, or you made it possible for them to do it or to get it or to have it. It's ironic, right? Because people will take your help, they'll take your resources, but then diss you in the same sentence or diss you the same week, the same day. So it makes you wonder, right? like, should I even help, or should I even be doing this for other people? But you still should. If you still feel called to help people, you should still do that despite a few ungrateful individuals, right? You don't want anybody to turn your naturally good heart into something darker, especially when you feel like that's not a part of your calling. You should still be real, still be true, helpful, generous in the ways that you can be, of course. Don't deplete yourself, but do it in the proportions that are available to you or that you can stand. All right, everybody, because a lot of the world's residents are actually quite down. A lot of the world's residents are upset, they're angry, or they're not dealing with life very well, right? And so when they see you dealing with life with grace, and you could be going through problems, but you're dealing with life as well as you can, so it seems like you don't have problems. People are going to go after somebody like you and create problems and create blockages because they feel like, hey, you don't have none. They don't see they don't see that you have any issues. In fact, they see that you have it all, that you just have this and that, and you don't have no issues. You have never struggled. I've had people tell me you don't go through nothing. You don't have no issues. You have this and that, and I am going through this, so you shouldn't be complaining. But it's because, to the best of my ability, I try to mitigate my life's issues. I don't let it overgrow in my life, or let it become overgrown to where I cannot cope or I cannot breathe, right? Like, sometimes the chosen ones can make things look very easy, right? People who have been called to do different things, it's because there's love at the forefront. When you're doing things with love, when you're doing things because you want to and not because you feel obligatory, it's obligatory, or you feel like you must, you start moving different. You start moving a little bit lighter because nothing feels like it's really work, or nothing really feels like it's too taxing on you. So that's where it starts getting a little bit muddied and misconstrued, where people start thinking that because you are doing what makes you happy and you're living your best life, that must mean that you don't have any problems. So people will come at you and start drama. But you could be having some issues that they just don't see. You could be having problems that you keep at bay. You don't let it go out of control. You are very poised in that way. And people just will not understand that. People will not, they will believe that it doesn't exist. They see what they see on you and they say, nah, that's hocus pocus, right? But that's how you know you're so different. You're realer than a lot of people because you're just able to live life with happiness, with peace, with love at the forefront. And unfortunately, a lot of people, they just don't. They don't live by these principles. They don't have that moral compass, right? They don't feel that way. They don't see things that way. And it's unfortunate because then a lot of connections that could have been or would have been or used to be wither away with no chance of reconciliation. So it could happen and it's sad. But what we got to do, we got to boogie. We got to keep moving on, live our best lives, you know? Yeah, we got to do the right thing. We got to live our best lives. Yep. David says, they don't know my story, right? They don't know everything that you could have been through. And that's where things get muddy, right? Because it's, you start over explaining yourself and having, which I used to do a lot, over explaining myself, trying to make it clear why I do what I do. And it all gets very convoluted. And people actually like that. They like when you stumble and explain and sweat and cry about why you are the way you are, why you do what you do. These days, you just got to move in the way you want to. You don't have to explain that to anybody. It's either they rock with you or they do not. Either way, it's not going to affect your elevation, right? Because that's your life. This is you, right? So people could, some people will not be able to stand you in life. And some people will be obsessed with you and enthralled by you, right? So it's a lot of things where it could, you just never know. But one thing you should always know is to live your best life by your own terms. Life is not a race, it's not a competition, even though the herd will make it seem that way. And a lot of us, I would say probably the majority of us, we do not move with the herd. We do not move with the trends. We do not care about what everybody else is doing in the sense that we're going to play follow the leader. No, we are our own leaders. That's the principles that we live by. We want to do our own thing. That's why you are probably regarded as somebody kind of like a trendsetter, right? Where you are the one that's setting the trends and people follow you, right? Or people copy you. And it's interesting. And India, thank you so very much for that. You said, I remember my mom calling Erica Badu weird as F. I love Erica, so I found it kind of rude. Now I see that she wasn't used to seeing authenticity. Yeah, that's the thing. When people are authentic, when people are being themselves, being true, being real, they're the one, or they have unique concepts or ideas and they live by these principles. Those people are going to be labeled some pretty poor labels in life. They're going to be called crazy, they're going to be called cuckoo, they're going to be called strange, odd, untrustworthy. That's why a lot of times in the media you will see the same trend happening, the same pattern happening, where the most brilliant minded people are ostracized and pushed away, and even not, they don't have the numbers, they don't get the numbers, that the mainstream would, or they're not recognized, or they stay more underground, maybe purposely staying underground too, because not everybody understands the level of authenticity or the level of craftsmanship and work that they really put forth here. So a lot of people who are authentic and who are very different and bold in this way are going to be targeted, going to be shunned, looked down upon, and oftentimes looked down upon people who are a part of the herd, you know? And it's unfortunate once again, because once again, some people are closed off or closed minded. When they look at somebody who kind of is different from the rest, they see it as something that is putrid or something that should be frowned upon, or they're bad minded, or something happened to them, or something's wrong with them. But they're so brilliantly different that it seems like something's off, but everything's on. Everything's good with that person. Everything's okay. Then they start trying to make that person change. You got to do this, you got to do that, change it up a little bit because you're not fitting the status quo of what everybody's looking for. You don't want to fall victim to that, because that's where a lot of people, they just they give themselves up. They shy away from being who they are. Instead, they'd rather be what the herd prefers them to be. That's a dangerous mindset to adopt, where you start falling victim to what society wants you to be. That is dangerous. To me, that's my opinion. That is not wise. Like, you should always aim to be you. Even if you have a small following, even if what you're doing isn't everybody's cup of tea. Maybe it's not meant to be everybody's cup of tea. But truth be told, as you keep being you, as you keep being yourself, you will get the real ones following you, looking up to you, admiring you respectfully, even though it could be the opposite as well. But you just got to do you. You just got to do what makes you happy, not what makes everybody else happy. You got to do you. Do what makes you happy, because it's never going to feel like work. It's never going to really feel like too much stress. It's never going to feel like too much pressure, because you're doing you. You know what you want, you know what you love, right? And so you have to act in that way. You have to put forth actions that match what you know, match what you want, right? And not let anybody get into your head about who they think you should be, or what attitude, what mantras, what regimens they think you should have. I mean, suggestions are welcome, right? But in the end, you're going to do what you want to do, right? In the end, you got to do what feels right, what doesn't feel like stress, what doesn't feel fake, right? Or forced or rehearsed. We just got to do the best that we can. Thank you, India, for sharing that. I appreciate that. God gives grace to the humble, says, learn your path. Right. Yep. India. David says, India, you are amazing. Isn't she? Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Joseph, the dreamer, says they reject God. Josh says the Bible teaches us with God created our path, creates the rivers and everything. Right. Mm-hmm. T says it's crazy. They have more than me and hate me. Thank you, T, for bringing that up. That's another very interesting topic that I've spoken about a lot on this channel. That it doesn't really matter what they have, what possessions they have, the whips they drive, the dwellings they live in, the money they have in their bank account. They will look at you and be focused about what you've got going on, borderline obsessing over what you have, your brain, your stuff, right? They could have a lot more than you. You get a little thing and they're laser focused on that little leg up that you just got, that little upgrade, that little promotion, or whatever it could be. It doesn't have to be enormous, grand. It could be something that you've worked really hard for that is now just starting to trickle in. They could have been had everything they have, but they're looking at what you have and they're like, why does he have that now? He used to take the bus. Now he has a Honda Civic, even though I have a Lambo sitting in the driveway. It shouldn't be like that. Some people are like this. It's barbaric, right? Where that's why I'm telling you guys that materialism is nothing, right? That's how I see it, because you could have anything. You can have anything in this world, but things are just things. They could be shattered, they could be broken, they could be depreciated in value, they could be taken away from you, seized, foreclosed, all types of crazy stuff. You got to keep your mind right. You got to know that you have to be happy with the things that you have within you, right? The light you have within you, the intelligence, a proper mindset, a really good, solid mind. These are the things that will carry you through to these higher realms that even the people who are living in the hills, they cannot see. They don't see the same things that you do. That's why they'll be super focused on what you have, because they know it is not tangible. It's deeper than that whip. It's deeper than that money. It's deeper than the house that they live in. Much, much deeper. You're much, much deeper. That's why you're so misunderstood, right? And it's not to say that you guys don't have wealth or that you guys don't have stuff. But it's crazy, though, that there could be people who have a lot more than you materialistically, perhaps seniority in the workplace. It could be a relative that's a lot older than you, so they think you should listen to them no matter what. You shouldn't ask any questions. And so when you have a different mindset, different ideas, different opinions, different thoughts, different attitude than perhaps they have, or you have more happiness than they do, nothing in their driveway is making them as elated as you feel in life. It's different. When you're truly happy, you shine, right? People could shine only so much from the seat in a Lambo. I mean, if you're a dreary person, that Lambo is not going to bring you higher. It's going, I've seen these skits online where they're so silly. I've seen the skits online where a guy, walks up on a woman and is trying to get at her and trying to chill, and she doesn't really want to chill until she sees that he's jumping in a Viper or something, right? Then she wants to hang, then she wants to chill. A lot of times these things are skits, but people are actually like this, where if you don't have it all, they don't want to be seen with you. So it's extremely shallow. And then these people wonder why that nobody really rocks with them like that on a deeper level, or why people don't want to build a life with them or to be a friend of theirs, because they are super shallow. They are not seeing the bigger picture, or they're not seeing a person's heart, right? So materialism is really, I can't even say secondary. It's so far down on the priority list, right? Love and joy and happiness and peace is what people are really after. They just can't vocalize that, or they cannot really express that to you. They may not fully know how to pinpoint it because their mind is on the materials. They're not really thinking about why or what they're lacking. Sometimes it's hard for them to understand, but then when they see you and they see the joy and the love that you have a lot of happiness, joy, peace, blessings, wealth, wealthy in these ways, wealthy in love, wealthy in health, right? You're healthy, you're strapping, you're taking care of yourself, you're doing well. These are things that people take for granted because they're trying to floss on Instagram. That stuff dies out. These things don't last, right? You got to be true. You got to be you, right? Beyond the cameras and beyond social media, you have to have a flair to you. You got to find your flair, and you got to live life peacefully and happily, because that's what's real. That's not tangible. They can't take that away from you, So there is power and there is love and there is joy in true happiness. That's why people will never leave you alone, because you're always happy or you're always focused in that. No one can really disturb that joy that envelops your life. And so people will constantly be on the attack mode because they know it's an endless, they will never get to you. They cannot ever get to you, and that makes them want to get to you even more. But it's a fruitless venture, and they're burning steam trying to do something they're never going to really be able to do, right? Jealousy, envy, disdain, that will get people reeling. This is what will make people do what they do, the negative happenings that we see a lot of times for situations that we didn't ask to be a part of, right? So it could be like that. And I thank everybody here. Let's read some comments, everybody. Kevin said, hey, Kevin, haven't seen you for a minute. You said, we got that flare. Yep. That flare is amazing. Yep. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, everybody, for the great vibes. I want to pose a question to you all. It's very random. What is some of your favorite content to watch? Just in general, right? Like if you're on TikTok, if you're on Instagram, if you're on YouTube, who are some of your favorite YouTubers? What are some of your best content that you could recommend? What are some of your favorite people to watch? And what are some things that you guys like to watch, indulge in by watching media, things like that? I'm very interested to see this. Callie says you. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. For me, I don't know if you guys know Mr. Ballin, but Mr. Ballin is a storyteller on YouTube. He is probably top 5, at least. I would say probably even top 5 for sure. One of the best YouTube channels. Like Mr. Ballin is golden ever since he came out, in 2020. I have watched every single last video that he has posted. He is an excellent YouTuber, excellent storyteller, just very interesting character, and seems very humble, really good at his craft. Like that's one of my favorite YouTubers to watch for sure. Jackie says, I like you and the modern investor crypto guy. Thank you, Jackie, for the compliments. Modern investor crypto guy. I never heard of that. I never heard of him. That is cool. Ron says, Diary of a CEO podcast is dope. Okay. Jackie says, love him. Elevated Mindset says, you walk heavy. Reno speaks riches. Okay. Thank you, Elevated, for that. That's awesome. Thank you guys for sharing these. This is really, really cool. Terry says, you would be an awesome TV host. Thank you. Nadia says, you are one of my favorites for sure. Thank you so much for that, everybody. Thank you, David, for the great vibes. Thank you. Thank you. Nadia says, I like the Anointed Path channel. That's cool. All right, let me check that out. Anointed Path channel. Kevin says, I think you're one of the best. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you guys so much for the great vibes. Queen Nita says, check out the Earn Your Leisure. All right. Josh says, I go back and forth with the Bible and different topics, so I learn as much as I can to share with others. Yes, that's real, Josh. Thank you for that. India, thank you for that. You said the little shaman here on YouTube. All right. That's dope. Thank you, everybody, for that. How are you guys been feeling lately? How you guys been doing? Where are you guys tuning in from? I would love to know. As I've said before, I'm born and raised in Toronto, in Canada, and I absolutely adore my city. And I love diversity. I love people from all walks of life. Grew up with people from all over the world, and it's just really humbling to be a part of a very multicultural city. A lot of fun things to do in Toronto, and just it's always a good vibe. I really am very thankful to have been born in a city like Toronto, because it really shaped me to be appreciative of people from all over the world, and to really have a love and a yearning to know more about people and just different things like that. And I'll pose another question to you guys too. Um, like what was your favorite subject in college, university, school, any level of school? Like what was something that you really excelled at? What was, and do you use that in your life now? Like is it something you do for a career now? Is it something that you are a scholar in now? Like what was your favorite subject? What did you excel in? No matter what, you always went back to that and you did really well in that. Josh says Butler, Pennsylvania. Nice. Yeah, Mrs. Tisha Faye says Prophetess Nikki G has a great channel too. All right. Elevated says North Dakota. Kevin says Raleigh, North Carolina. Am I saying it right? Raleigh or Raleigh? Is it Raleigh, North Carolina? Tuckman says Indiana. Silly Name says I'm in the Midwest, USA. Lou Pam says art and creativity. I will be honest with you guys. I don't know why I did this in high school. I don't know why. To this day, completely perplexed. In grade 9, I took visual arts, coming from the person who used to draw stick figures with the sun in the corner and little grass and a little pond. Something in my mind told me to take visual arts in grade 9, and I failed it miserably. Right. So that was not wise. When I was younger, I made a lot of bad choices. I made a lot of foolish decisions that I knew was not right. Like why would I take visual arts and I cannot draw to save my life? So that was pretty silly of me. And there were other programs I could have taken or courses I could have taken instead, like vocal arts, because I like to sing, right? Or photography. Like, why didn't I do that? But in the end, to make up for that credit, I ended up doing guitar in grade 11 and I passed, but barely. It's just a string of bad choices and just believing that you could just do it because you just think you could do it all. It backfires. Sometimes just because you can doesn't mean you should, and I learned that hard lesson through a lot of failed ventures. And you get redirected though, and you learn things. You do learn. Like I learned that visual arts is definitely not my thing. I learned a little bit about how to play guitar, right? Like it's certain things where it wasn't the best thing for you to do, but it's not a total loss because you did learn some awesome skills. You learn some different theories and things like that. Danielle Terry says New York City. Yep, I hear you. Jackie says math and music. Nice. Jeremiah says Griffin, Georgia. Nice to see you from Griffin, Georgia. Kevin says, yes, it's Raleigh. All right. Nice. India, thank you for that. You said I had all Fs, but I had an A plus in art. Well, that's great. I mean, the art part for sure. School was not my thing. Like mark wise, you know what I mean? Like I liked it more the socializing aspect a little bit. It depended on the subject. Like I was not this brilliant student academically to where I was getting A's and B's. No, I was getting C's. I was getting D's, sometimes even lower than that. Math was my absolute worst subject, the worst. But I really excelled in French. I really liked English. I really liked phys ed. I loved, gym, things like that. But, beyond that, I was pretty average, a very average student. I was the type of person where I would just do a subject, I would do an assignment very quickly just to submit it, knowing I failed, knowing it was not my best, just to say I did it, right? So it was a very poor outlook that I had. I didn't really respect school too much, didn't put a lot of weight on it as well. And even in college, I was bouncing around quite a bit, doing all these random things. But once again, just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? But such is life. Sometimes that's just how it goes. Camille says the DMV, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Nice. Stephanie says currently live in West Midlands, United Kingdom, born in Tobago. Wow. Nice. Tuckman says automotive, and it's interesting that you say that because there was an auto course that my high school had. And I always told myself, like, why couldn't I, you know, why don't I do something that is more outside the box, like woodwork and auto repair? These are awesome courses to take. These are fantastic, but especially if you have a knack for it as well. That's where, once again, when you're doing what you love, it doesn't feel like work. It's just like you're going to ace it. It's going to be great. It's going to be easy. You're going to love it because you're doing something that feels second nature to you. You could be doing something that's supplementary to what you already know. Like if you grew up fixing cars with your father, then you taking automotive classes in high school is just natural, because and you're going to do very well or potentially excel past your peers because you actually have real life experience and you're just doing the theory part of it, right? Or the written part of it. So it's cool. Easter says Chester, South Carolina. Nice. Lou Pam says the Netherlands. Yeah, Josh says my favorite college course was environmental science. Nice. And Josh, why was that your favorite course? That's very interesting. Nice, nice, everybody. So happy you guys are here sharing your different things that you guys love to do, and it's nice. It's nice to see that everybody comes from all different walks of life, but a lot of you seem very ambitious and very different, and just doing your thing. You probably have always just been doing your thing and doing what you could do to add to your roster, elevate yourself as much as you can, right? So it's beautiful. Okay. Danielle Terry says cosmetology student. I excelled in lunch. Yeah. That's funny. When I was growing up, I always had snacks in my pocket. There there was a time where I was called the candy girl because I would literally be walking around in high school, Jolly Ranchers would fall out of my pocket, and different candies and things like that. Once again, I wasn't really the type of, you know, it's interesting because I was actually shunned quite a bit as a youth. Like I wasn't a popular individual by any means or by any stretch. I was somebody that people just didn't really, I didn't vibe with everybody. Me now seeing it in hindsight, I'm actually kind of cool with that. I'm fine with that. But back then it did bug me because once again, your mind is still developing and you're believing that what you see on the movies, mean girl stuff, all this type of stuff, like, you could just go to the beat of your own drum and be quite content in that life, right? But as a youth, as a high schooler, even younger, did not see things that way, right? So I did feel very rejected by many groups of people growing up, and it really hurt my self-esteem. Like it really made me feel like, I must be not a good person because people don't like me or people don't rock with me like that. But you always find your tribe and you live and you learn. And I love meeting all types of people, right? Because it just makes me more appreciative of mankind and able to learn a lot of different things from a lot of different people. You can't just learn things from your own folks. No, that's not realistic. I mean, people are brought up that way. Like everybody else is an outsider and everybody else is dangerous and you shouldn't trust that person or you shouldn't trust a person from a certain country. I don't rock like that. I don't get down like that. Like I actually gravitate towards people who are far different than myself because that's where I learn a lot about myself. In the end, it does come back to you a little bit that you start learning a little bit more about yourself, your values, appreciating because maybe the customs of another, race or ethnicity. You start learning more and you start realizing like, wow, like your world is not the only world. There's millions of worlds around you, right? And you just got to be open to it. And that's where the real connections come from, right? That openness, that open-mindedness to see things a lot more deeper than what you dwell in. So it's beautiful. And I truly, truly, truly love life. I love people. Even though when I was rejected by many people, right? I was rejected by many, hurt, like sad, like crying, like very upset. But still I had this zest, this love for the underdogs, for people who were new to the country, people who didn't speak English, that was not their first language. Like these are people that I gravitated towards, right? Because I felt like, you know, I could help them, or I understand where they're coming from, even though I'm not in their predicament. I felt like I understood where they were coming from. It's kind of hard to explain, right? But sometimes you could feel displaced in life. Like you don't know where you fit in. But sometimes where you fit in is just, it's all, you're everywhere, it's all around you, right? You just got to see life in a more joyful manner, and and love humans and love life and continue to and you know, just to be happy, live your best life, right? I used to be made fun of a little bit because people didn't understand why I was hanging with people who looked different than myself, right? I was not really understanding that, because I'm kind of like, why are you so pressed about who I hang with? Right? Like why do we have to look the same or be a part of the same group? I love all people, right? So, you know, I would get, even going to the mall with people from different cultures, different religions, right? Different customs, and I would be looked at dirty looks. I'm talking about dirty looks where people are like looking. This is still pretty ignorant for a city like Toronto, where it's not fully, not everyone is fully, is the word alchemated or accustomed to even people meshing with other groups. It's kind of weird. I would be looked at weird or treated strangely when I was hanging with people who maybe had a special type of headdress, you know, people who had maybe a physical disability, a speech impediment, like things like that, where people did not understand, because people, humans are superficial sometimes. So they're not understanding why you would want to be around certain people or partake in certain things. But the way that, and it's not like I was raised with these customs either. That's not what it is. Nobody raised me to have this deeper love for humanity and have a deeper love for every, no one raised me to be that way. I naturally wanted, felt the need, felt the desire to be that way. You know, like normally it's a taught type of thing, but I wasn't taught to be that way. I felt it deep within me to be that way, if that makes any sense. It's a lot of things I had to learn by myself, right? Where I didn't have no teacher, I did not have a tutor. I had life. Life taught me. You know, life taught me, life showed me. Very few people in my life can say that they helped me with learning things. If anything, the negative situations I've been through by proxy taught me, not directly that person because they had good values to share. It was just the circumstance that gave me lessons to know how to move now, not the person, you know, trying to be enriching. So it's interesting. Like I didn't have all that support. I didn't have all that, right? You have to be your own cheerleader sometimes. Not everybody is going to root for you or clap for you. And I had to learn that I was rejected, you know? Like it reminds me of that song from Zoe 101, that rejected song, rejected, you got rejected. You know, it's like, it was like that, you know, where it was pretty extreme. It was very clear. But I don't feel rejected anymore. I feel love. I don't need a lot. I feel happy living my best life by my own terms, right? I learned a lot of lessons. I did not have a lot of support growing up, nor did I have a lot of wealth. You know, I did not grow up in a good neighborhood. It's a lot of things that just weren't right. But these things taught me the what I know now. I know how to move now, how to be thankful, how to be humble because of where I come from and the things that I've been through. I know about the rats. I know about the roaches. I know about all of that. All of these things, you know, it's I this was a part of my life of growing up. It's a lot of things that I've been exposed to, certain things that I've seen, certain things that I've dealt with that I will never forget because these are like imprinted. It's just a part of your past, right? And so it's just I'm very appreciative of all the lessons I've learned thus far. And the thing about life is that learning never ends. So I'm very thankful for that, that though I have these past lessons, I know more is pending, more is on the way. I'm going to get more lessons learned. I'm going to have things that don't go my way, don't go according to plan. But I know that I'm going to get some kind of a lesson or some type of beautiful life buffer that really brings a lot of things into perspective, things that get more clear. I don't know it all, right? And I will never act like, I will never move like I know it all, right? I know what I know, but I know that there's more to know. And I'm open to that because I just keep an open mind, right? So it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. India says, I remember growing up with no hot water, no power at times. I've been through low times too. Yep, yep. Crime. Yeah, crime. A lot of crime. I was probably living in one of the worst possible neighborhoods that you could possibly live in Toronto, right? Like it was not good. I was actually scared, at certain times where I was living, but I formed a lot of deep connections from the community. A lot of people will attest to this, that even though you might not be where you want to be, a lot of times this is where the most potent, beautiful connections are formed, right? Because everybody's kind of bonding over the same type of thing, and not everybody has it all. And there was even times where people would come back to this neighborhood and be like, you're still here, right? And it would make me feel bad because they moved on, they got out, and I was still in this decrepit neighborhood, right? Because it was very decrepit. But I knew, right, that my future was going to be bright so long as I continued to have that mindset and that steadfast nature that everything was going to be okay, right? And it's a lot of things I just had to learn through life. Just learn about loss, learn about lack, learn about this, that. Not that somebody taught me, right? But more of life taught me, right? You may not have everybody cheering for you, you may not have a lot of support. People may have tried to diss you and make you out to be the scapegoat. I know about that. I know about people who just want to look at somebody to blame, even though you didn't have really nothing to do with it, or it wasn't your position, or your involvement was not so significant to warrant this kind of treatment. It could be like that as well, where it's super disproportionate, where all the older heads are attacking the young ones, right? Or the mother and father is super disappointed in the child. It's a child, right? Or the youth. Like, you're supposed to raise them to be an upstanding individual. So it's like, when you're not being raised that way, well, what do they expect, right? Because you're a youth and your mind is still developing. So it's kind of bizarre. But this is a lot of times narcissism, right? And it can be very damaging. It can be very wicked as well. It can be very detrimental to the mind. So you can only imagine, right? As you stand here now, you stand before a lot of people in society, in your family, in the workplace, in the community. They're seeing your strength, and they're seeing that you have withstand a lot of turbulent times, and you're still here, and you're still shining bright, more so than they could have ever really imagined, right? Or you could be, there could have been times, most likely, where so much time has elapsed since people that have seen you. So when they see you, it's kind of like, is that even you? Like, they're so shocked at where you're at now. They could have bullied you. They could have teased you. They could have openly rejected you in high school. It could have been like that, where people just didn't care about you like that. But now when they see you, they care. And for some reason, they know you. Like, there was one girl from high school. I never spoke to her one time. Never had a class with her. Never spoke to her. Nothing like that. Nothing like that. So it was kind of interesting that maybe a year after I graduated, I just happened to recognize her on the street. And she was like, Andrea? And it sent a chill down my spine because I never spoke to her a day in my life at high school. Not in grade 9, not in grade 10, not in grade 11, not in grade 12. So it's kind of like someone saying your name, Andrea, like you're their long lost friend. She wasn't even an associate, wasn't even an acquaintance. So it's kind of interesting, right? Some people only hail you up when you're by yourself, right? When you're alone, when their folks don't see it, right? When their folks won't be like, why are you talking to her? Or why are you talking to him? right? I didn't move like that. Like there would be people who would approach me and be like, "Why are you hanging with her? She's no good. Didn't you hear what she did? Don't you hear how he moves?" And it's kind of like, "Yeah, I've heard it. And what about it?" They've not slighted me. They've not done anything to me to alarm me. When they do, I'll move accordingly. Until then, that's my friend. I don't really see what you see, right? Because I don't really go based off of what people say. I go based off of my experience with that particular individual or that circumstance. So it's like, why do people care so much about who you hang with or who you're around? It's like they're jealous or they're upset. It's kind of bizarre because they make it seem like it's for your best interest or that they're concerned about you. But it's like, no, they're trying to cause a separation with people that perhaps you could vibe with better or people who you get along with better that and they didn't. So it's interesting, you know? It could be interesting. Lou Pam says, so true, pure, and no fake mentality. No fake snake mentality. Right, India says they never pay attention to the insides of a person. Right. Yeah, Tuckman says most assume or realize you're not like them. And God gives grace to the humble says, wow, amazing word as always. God bless. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, everybody. And yeah, exactly. Easter says it's in us, not on us. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's been such a wonderful time here, everybody. I'll probably get off in about 7 minutes or so. I purposely started, well, mind you, my apologies. I was tardy today, about 11 minutes tardy, which is normally not the case, but it happens sometimes, but I apologize for that. But I purposely wanted to start at 7 to be on here for longer so we could just vibe this way. So we can get more conversations, and I did that on purpose. And maybe once a month we could do that. Just chop it up and talk about all different types of things, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be a certain premise. It's just like getting to know your guys' take on things and what you guys like, what you guys don't like, your perceptions and your insight is very enriching. It's very enriching to the channel. Kevin says, why 7 minutes? Oh, because I'm gonna be coming off at 8:30. I should have said that. 8:30, right? Yeah. David says, don't go. I know. I used to do 3 hour streams like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. I was doing 3 hour streams. Don't know how I was doing that. But one of my favorite things to do is to talk, right? So sometimes if I don't set a little bit of a boundary for myself, I will just go on a tirade, a positive one. I will just keep going down that rabbit hole and the night goes on. And I appreciate you guys' time, of course, for being here. So I do want to keep it respectful as well. But I thank you guys. I really, do you guys enjoy the streams? Do you guys enjoy the videos? I hope you guys do. I really love making the videos and making the streams. And just speaking off the top of my head and just enjoying life, being here and, being on YouTube and just being able to speak to have an audience has really, really been a very eye-opening, enriching experience for me because you guys are literally the sole reason why the channel has grown to the extent that it has. And all I'm hoping for is that that growth continues, right? Where I'm able to still be coming on here and just talk and just talk about real things, talk about some serious, real situations, talk about life, talk about realness, talk about the world, talk about humanity, talk about all different types of concepts, talk about the past, talk about the future, just all different things, all different things. And I'm so thankful for all of you. Thank you, everybody. I hope you guys did definitely enjoy. But, life is sweet. I guess the takeaways here are you can't let anybody get to you too much. Can't let anybody derail you or take you off course. You can't let anybody, attack your character and get away with it. You have to stand 10 toes down as you traverse through life, because with it being somebody like you who has been called to be set apart and to do different things, you're going to find yourself in a lot of compromising positions where people are going to want to see you in a lower position because they know that your potential, or they know that your greatness is here, or it is pending. They know the extent, they know what you can achieve. Sometimes people know what you can achieve before you even figure it out. So it's not like people are blind. They're not blind. A lot of people might play like they don't see you or play like they don't hear you, but they've been hearing you, they've been seeing you, and they're threatened by what you're going to accomplish, which is why they will invoke drama. They will put together nonsense, nightmarish situations for you to have to deal with, because they know it will be some kind of distraction if you let it be that, right? So definitely keep your life clutter free as much as possible, right? And I'm speaking very figuratively. I mean, literally, if it matters, but figuratively, symbolically, like keep your life clutter free. Take stock, take inventory of what's not serving you and purge it, get rid of it, take it out of the picture so that you have more clarity to make these solid moves and to live your best life, right? Like you definitely want to have a clear mind, and you definitely want to live your best life. And when people see that you're living your best life, that's all it takes for them to come with the sabotage and to come with the drama, to come with the mess, the lies, the stealing, the making things up, right? The attacks, the drama. It's the simple things, you living by these simple yet golden principles. These people want to taint that. That's what they're after. They know. They try extra hard because they know it's within you. It's not on you, right? Like Easter said, right? It's within you. So they feel like they got to exert themselves to really snatch your blessings or to drain you of your energy, right? So we can't let that happen. We got to stand 10 toes down in no matter what the circumstance is. And it's probably easier said than done. But because we've answered the call. First of all, we have answered the call to be different, to have a different path. Let's keep on that. Let's respect that and hone in on that and cultivate our world around this special calling that you have, the regimens that you maybe had to adopt, the people that you maybe had to drop. It's like certain things you had to change to accommodate your life's path, your purpose, your mission. It could be anything that you've been called to do, but things had to be moved around and shifted, sometimes completely slate wiped clean, severed. The cords had to be cut. There may have been a lot of drastic things that you had to do to further your mission, or to be able to freely do your mission and to do it to the best of your ability, right? So keep being that vibe that you are, everybody. Keep vibing, keep living your best life. And I thank you guys all for joining me tonight on this stream. I hope you guys enjoyed this stream, okay? Thank you for everybody who donated by super chats. Thank you for all the likes, for all the watches. And of course, the commentary was amazing. It was really nice to see everybody, what you guys have been thinking, your insight, your stories, your likes, dislikes, things like that. It was very, very nice to see tonight. And I think it gave everybody a little bit of a different breath of fresh air, because we're able to have a different type of conversation, more open. And I really like that. So maybe this is something I'll do once a month or once every 2 months or something like that, where there may not be a particular topic, just straight talk, right? So thank you guys so much for joining me on the stream. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's stay connected on YouTube here. I'll make some posts on the community posts. Thank you guys for your time, for sharing your stories, for sharing your thoughts, and just, giving your great vibes, all right? Giving your awesome vibes, and just, just your good cheer, right? It was very refreshing, very, very refreshing, everybody. So thank you. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. Thank you guys. Stay up, and I'll see you guys soon, okay? Bye.